Yeah, welcome to today's webinar with CTL Africa. It's going to be an impactful 90 minutes with our seasoned coaches, Tika and Sarah Jersey Apia. I want to welcome our first speaker for the day. Sarah Jersey Apia is a grandmom, a mother, and a lovely servant leadership coach. We are very much lucky to have her today to speak to us, to support us, to survive the current crisis we have found ourselves in as women and as business leaders. Let us give a much audience, and I want to plead that just after her presentation, there will be questions and answers. So once you listen and you have an issue that you want clarification, just put it down quickly, and it should be brief about the question so that we will be able to take within the stated minutes. Thank you very much. And I want to say my name is Annie Etel Komlagan, the programs lead for CTL Africa. Thank you. Auntie Sarah, over to you.
Thank you very much, Ethel, and welcome everybody. I'm so honored to have a lot of you on the call. So before we start, I just want to see where we are regarding the demographics. I'm going to launch a poll to see if you could just fill out where you stand as far as your marital status is concerned. This will help us really address each need of the persons represented here. So the poll is on, and Ethel will give us the answers as soon as we end the poll. This will just take about a minute. So please go ahead and fill out the poll. Thank you very much. Perfect. Okay. Ethel, do you have the count?
Yes. Okay, so we have the single, 21%. 12 people have voted single, representing 31%. Then we have single and in a relationship, 2 people, 5%. Then we have single parent, 1 person, 3%. Married without children, 4 persons, that's 10%. Then married with children at home, 18, that is 46%. Married with an empty nest, 1, that's 3%. Then divorced and living alone, that is 1 and 3%. Widowed and living alone, we have none as a term. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so let's get started. As I told you, I am a grandma of 2 and a mother of a beautiful young lady and a coach. So let me just start sharing the screen and we can start our webinar. Voila, here we go. Can everybody see? Okay. So Tika and myself will be taking you through this experience this week and next week. 1, what we're going to do for the whole 2 sessions is right here on the program. The agenda for today is going to be in the first 3 categories. This is a new program Tika and I have developed for us to really support women during this crisis. And we call it the 6 Ps. So today we're going to look at the first 3, that is the perspective, the processing, and prioritization. And Tika will take you through next week on the next 3. So let's start. Okay, for today, we will address the difficulty times that we are experiencing. Secondly, we will move on to understanding ourselves and others, and then how we connect and communicate better. And lastly, how we're going to strengthen our relationship in the stressful times that we find ourselves. Okay, so one sec, I just moved this over here because it's blocking my view. Okay, so let's just frame what a crisis is. John C. Maxwell describes it as an intense time of difficulty requiring a decision that will be a turning point. Yes, indeed, we are in an intense time, and it is requiring us to make certain choices and decisions that will help us navigate the situation either positively or negatively. As I was thinking about it this morning, I just asked myself, why did Tika and I decide to do this? Where are we today as women? And what came to my mind is the fact that in this time of crisis, we are, as women, have a unique role to play in the world. Because the world needs to be healed, there's so much pain and hurt that people are experiencing. Why do I say that this is what we have to do as women? This bold statement that I'm making is because we are the channel that God uses to bring humans into this world. He works together with us so that creation is us, the cradle for humanity. We are the true leaders, or I will say the first leaders that every human being meets, connects with, and begins a relationship. Right now, what the world needs now is connection, connection, connection. So that is the reason why we decided to bring to you and to add value to you in this time of crisis. When we look at crisis, these are the crises that we have had throughout the world, the history of crisis. And every time we do overcome it. Why? Because Mother Earth gives birth to new ways that we can overcome the crisis. And the same way as women, we give birth to new leaders, to even those that we have. We nurture them, we care for them. So the leaders of the world comes from women. So that's the more reason why we now have an important role to play during this time of crisis. That's why we put on this slide saying, listen, women are so resilient, we've got it. We carry babies in our bodies, we bring them forth, we nurture them, and we make sure that life is continued in this world. So the question we ask ourselves today is, how are we relating to others right now? Especially in a time where we are locked down in different countries. I'm speaking to you from Switzerland, and we have been locked down for 6 weeks. In Ghana, I know you have been locked down until last Monday when the lockdown was lifted. So you are lucky. I don't know how you are coping, but over here, it has been very difficult. And I guess it's the same for you. So what we decided to do is to bring you a tool that will help us relate better. We have so many tools as far as the model of human behavior is concerned. But we decided to use this because it is a really simple tool to use, and it's very easy for you to remember as against the other personality models of other models. So now, what we want you to understand is that each person has a unique personality trait, okay? And because of that, sometimes we feel like people have to act like us, but that is the starting point. We need to understand that there is no one like you or me, and therefore nobody can be like you. It is good to be different. So that is actually the first way we connect. As coaches, when we meet up with people, we try to connect. And as human beings, that is also the situation. 1 second. Somebody. Okay. Can everybody hear me? If you can hear me, could you put it in the chat box? Okay, thank you very much. So I'll continue. Okay, so first of all, connecting is the first point of contact for any human being that comes into this life. And that is exactly what we do when we meet with people. If we take the human being as a circle and we divide it into two, the upper part is the outgoing part, and then the lower part is the reserved. Some people call the lower part reserved as people who are introverted, or the opposite is people who are extroverted. They have a preference for extroversion. I'm being a little bit distracted here because of some charts that is going on, so please excuse me. Right, so why do we make it this way? Because when you connect at the first time, that is your internal drive. It is like your engine, and it's the pace. You go a little faster. When you go faster, it means you're more extroverted, and when you go slower, you are more reserved. So that is the first point of contact. What I will like everyone to do, I will pause now and quickly make another poll. 1 second. My computer is giving me a little bit of a problem. Okay. All right. So I have to pause, stop sharing the screen, and then give you the poll as to where you can situate yourself. Let's see. Pace. Okay. There we go. Will you describe lunch? If you go to a party, for instance, and there are a lot of people around, do you go around saying hello to everyone before you get yourself a drink? Or you go get a drink and go and find a place where you stand quietly and waiting for somebody to connect with you? Okay, the votes are going on. Right. So we have 45 people who are outgoing and 52 people who are more reserved. Great. Thank you. So I'm sharing that for everyone to see. 48 outgoing and 52 reserved. Great. All this is wonderful. Okay, so let's move now for me to share the screen once more. Okay, I think the screen is there now. So perfect. So the second observation that we notice in connecting is the way people perform tasks or they relate to people. And we call that the external focus, or what could be described as priority. if you're a car and you're driving on the road, you keep into your lane. You give priority to people on your right, or the cars on your right or on your left, depending on which country you're coming from. So this is the way I mostly to go straight to the task or people. This is a very difficult one to explain. However, I will use this slide for you to really understand. People who are more inclined to go to the left side are more task-oriented. They are more concerned about things to get the job done. And then people who are more inclined to be people-oriented, they are more relational. They care about relationship. So on the left-hand side, you will see the mind, people thinking a lot, and people on the right is for people who are really feel, say, you heard my thinking. But it doesn't mean that the left side is better than the right or vice versa. We need both, okay? And then people on the left side are more concerned with facts and consequences. And people on the right side are more concerned with grace, giving people the benefit of the doubt and just going out to forgive them and understand. Then you see I left a big gap here. When you move over here, that is, you're going into the work arena, more or less. When it comes to a task, people who like to work alone, and then people on the right prefer to work in a team. On the left-hand side, it's more rule-based, and the right-hand side is more relationships. For example, when your child comes home from school saying, hey, mom, look, I did get 95% for spelling bee. And you go, okay, that is really good. But what happened to the 5%? You're on the left-hand side. And then your husband comes, and then he hugs your child and say, okay, well done, you did so well, let's celebrate. Both reactions and approaches are great. The other one is more relational, saying, okay, let me give you a hug, you've done very well, celebration. And the other one is saying, okay, yes, but let's fix this problem. It doesn't mean that one is better than the other. It doesn't mean that one is better than the other. They are all different approaches, but it works so well, okay? So what I would like us to take from this particular point is the fact that rules without relationship leads to rebellion, and relationship without rules leads to ruins. I am just giving you these points just for now. These are the concepts. What I would like you to do is just to see which side you are on right now as it relates to the left or the right. And if we continue after the rules, people on the left-hand side are more concerned with programs, okay, plans, where do we go from A to B, and then performance. They are very performance-oriented, and they are more logic-oriented, didactic, facts, and figures. Whilst on the right, instead of plans and programs, it's persons and processes, and then personality, as opposed to performance. They like telling stories and see the beauty in things. We need both. So what I will say is that in life, do life from the right-hand side to the left-hand side. That way you move from people to task. And those people on the right-hand side, yes, you also need to visit people on the left-hand side because we need both brains to be balanced. We will relate that to how this is affecting us when it comes to the present crisis that we are doing. I just wanted to explain the concept and then we will move on to how this is affecting us in crisis times. Because priority issue is the place where we have more conflict. That is 80% to 90% of issues that we have relates to the priority issue, where people are more task focused or more people oriented. And when we do apply the priority issue well, we will succeed in the roles that we play as women wearing different hats. And this will equip us better to lead through this crisis. Now, what I would like you to do is, do you see yourself more on the left-hand side or on the right-hand side? And if you do, let me stop this. You will take the next poll and you will be able to guess your personality style. Okay, there you go. Right. Wonderful. Okay, let me end the poll and share the results. So on the call, we have 30% of us who are D personality, 30%. I'm writing that down. The I personality is 30% also, evenly okay. The S is 33% and the C's are 7%. Okay, thank you very much. Perfect. Let me share the screen quickly.
Auntie Sarah, when you have a second.
Yes.
I'm just checking the chat. I have a couple of requests for you to show the disk slide again.
Okay, I'm going to show that.
Okay.
Here we go. Okay, so here we go. We have the disk slide. On the upper left-hand side are the D's. Upper right-hand side are the I's. Lower left-hand side are the C's. And the lower right-hand side are the S's. So this is your guest disk personality. It doesn't mean this is it, because normally you should have an assessment done. I'm just giving you an overview, but for the sake of this webinar, we're going to go this way. Is it okay if I move on now? I guess so. Okay, let's move on. Perfect. So here we are. For the D's, they are outgoing and task-oriented, and the population, 3% of these make up the population. For the I's, 11% makes up the population. For the C's, 17% makes up the population. And for the S's, 69% makes up the population. I'm leaving it on just for 2 more seconds and then I'll move on. Just for you to note down the key characteristics, or rather the way we describe the D's as dominant, direct, demanding, decisive, determined, and they are doers. They get the job done. The S's, the I's, they are inspiring, influencing, impressionable, interactive, impressive, and interested in people. We go down to the S's, who's the 65% of the population. They are supportive, stable, steady. They are sweet. They like the status quo. They don't like change. and they are shy. And for the C's, they are cautious, calculating, competent, conscientious, contemplative, and careful. I will leave this slide on just for a minute, also for you to see the major characteristics of each personality style. The D's are confident, assertive, or aggressive. They like to challenge the status quo, seems to like control, dislike routine. If you know of anyone who is in this category, I think straight away about Donald Trump. Okay, that is the extreme side. He gets the job done. When he sets his mind to something, he gets it done. The I's, mostly people in the entertainment industry, they are very inspiring. Or let's say, whom would I say that is an I that really talks? I will say Barack Obama. He's very inspiring. He's optimistic. He encourages people. So you get the pattern. And then for S's, whom would I say is an S? Somebody like Mother Teresa will be an S. And then who is a C? I will put somebody like Tiger Woods, who is a C. Okay, I will stop here for us to have questions and answers about this part before we move on.
Okay. Thank you very much, Auntie Sarah. There is a request for the disc to be shown again. The details.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. The characteristics or what?
The details, all the details. So the first there.
Okay, I'll show the two slides again then.
Yeah.
Here we go. Let me share. I'll go back. Any more questions?
That's the only question. That's the only question we have now.
All right.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sarah, someone did ask in the Q&A section if they could be more than one characteristic.
Yes,
and
I'm coming to that.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. The thing is that you are not just fixed in a box. We are a blend of all these 4 categories. For example, my disc personality is an SCI. It's a blend. This is just a simplified version for you to have an idea. It doesn't mean that because you are a D, you have to stay in a D. When we do the assessment, it's a blend of all the 4. And actually, we do have 41 types of blends. There are so many nuances with the disc. But this is just for the purpose of explaining this concept to you. What I am going to do is maybe I will unmute so at least people can ask questions instead of typing. Let me see, I will unmute the participants. I think I have now.
Okay.
Unmute all. So all participants are unmuted. So raise your hand and Ethel will call you and we can do the Q&A that way.
Can I make note? There are some questions coming into the actual Q&A panel. So Ethel, I don't know if you see those, or Auntie Sarah. There are actually typed questions right now.
Okay, let me have a look.
Okay. So you can address those ones maybe.
Please, will the recording be shared after the webinar? Is it possible you have a blend? Yes, you do have a blend. Like I have just explained, I am a blend of an S, a C, and an I. Yes, you have a blend, and there are 41 blends when you do take the assessment. Okay, that is all that I see.
There are
Anybody wants to?
Sorry, Auntie Sarah, I can read out the ones that I see because I see some more.
Okay.
Someone's asking if they could get all of the notes after. What's your response?
Yes, they will. I'll give them the notes.
Okay.
Then someone asking.
Please, they would like to know if there's a particular one that's best. Sorry, Ethel.
Yes, the same question.
They were asking from Anita. Please, I would like to know if there's a particular one that's best for a leader.
Both are good. Every disc personality is good. You just have to know how to navigate, and we will be looking at the next part, how we can be able to move into different areas for different situations.
Okay, so there is a question here. Can these human behaviors be linked to human temperament, such as melancholy, sanguine, and choleric?
Yes, that's right. Yes, that's why I said this is a model human behavior. This model of human behavior, this is one of them. We have the choleric, we have the phlegmatic, we have the sanguine, yes, and then we do have the Myers-Briggs. That is the extroversion, introversion, and then the intuition and what do you call it? The intuition and the thinking and all that. So each one of this can be linked, yes. But I'm just using this because it's very simple and people can remember the letters easily. Okay.
Okay, so there is a question. Will these traits remain or depend on the situation?
What I have realized as you you grow up in age, as you are able to navigate with experience the different ones as and when, depending on the situation. Because in the beginning, I was very shy. You will never get me speaking like this on a call, okay? But I have been able to work on myself to be able to do this.
Okay.
Please, where will a person who loves to inspire but shy, talkative, but only talks when he or she is approached, and a good listener as well fall under the human behavior? The person inspires is an I, S is shy, talkative is an I. Okay, so the person is an IS. I was an S. I did not like to talk. So the blend, you just have to work on the areas that you're not comfortable with, because by default, this is where you go. You know, it doesn't mean that if you are shy, you will never be able to inspire people. You have that in you and you can do it. Comment, nobody is perfect fit of the quadrant. We may use different traits under different situations. Yes, Sewa, you're right. Can't hear you, no sound. Okay. Somebody has, yes.
Someone is saying she has always assumed that the D personality is the best for leadership. What do you say about that?
It depends on the situation. If it is war, when we are at war, yes, we need directives and we don't want people who are wavering. So yes, you use that leadership. But when we have a situation where people are in pain or whatever, like right now, you cannot just use the D personality type. When you do that, you're just going to hurt people more. So it depends on the situation. In crisis, where you need direction straight away to act quickly, yes, the D personality will be the best. We don't want people who are wavering, or people who are just want to have fun like the I's and not take action. The D personality will be called into play.
Okay, so
but it doesn't mean it's the best.
Okay, we take the last one from the chat. Comfort is asking, she's a D. How would she be able to work with someone who is S? She's a D and I. How would she be able to work with someone who is an S?
Perfect. That's where we are coming to now. Okay. The next segment. So comfort, we will come to that. You will see how you can work better with such all the different personalities. Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for your contribution. Okay, right. Very nice contribution. Thank you. Very active participation. So let's move now to the next segment. Ethel, I hope you're keeping the time for me.
Yes, I am keeping. I think you have just about 4 minutes more.
I have time?
You have
because I just got a message saying there are some questions that have not been addressed.
Yes.
So what are the questions? Are there more questions?
There are more questions.
No, those questions will be addressed in this very slide you are coming to show. That's what.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you. So the next one is communication. How all these 4 different personalities prefer to be communicated to. As I was saying in the beginning, it's connection, connection, connection. Once you know how to connect with people, you will be able to notice how they would like to be communicated with. Let me make the slide bigger so you can see the screen. Perfect. So for the D, because they are direct, and they just want to get to the bottom line. When you're talking to a D, you have to be brief, and the Ds on the call will attest to this. You have to be brief, you have to be direct, and you go to the point and then leave. The question you have to ask yourself when you're framing your questions to them is the what, not the how. They don't want the details. They want the big picture and then the results. So you focus on the results. You do not ramble, saying, as I was coming to this webinar, I couldn't get here in time because I had to stop by here and do this. I didn't get here in time because I was late. That's all. That's all they want to know. Get down to the bottom. Don't ramble. You discuss a problem and its effects on outcomes. Under stress, especially in this time, what a D will do is he will be very resistant, very angry, rebellious in stressful situations, demanding, strong-willed, and controlling. It's because he or she is under stress. Normally, these are not that way. They are direct, they get their jobs done, okay? And as parents, if we have a D child, for example, who is behaving in this way, what we can do to motivate them, that is the beauty about the DISC model, is that we use their strengths to motivate them. So since they do get the job done, you ask the person, you give the person an opportunity to be in charge of something. An example I can give is, for example, you're locked down at home during this lockdown, and the D in the house, one of your children, you give him the responsibility to make sure that everybody does their task, and you will have peace of mind. They will ensure that people do it. And normally, as I was saying, you do like to use their strengths and not focus too much on the negatives, because once you keep on mentioning their strengths or motivating them or talking to them in a way, their neurons, begin just to think about the positive. So for a D, because they are very direct and all that, you just say, these are just scripts that I did that you can use for your children or even for your colleagues. I like that you're very confident in yourself. Or I like that you set your mind to do something and you go after it. And I like that you're committed and decisive. You know, that is affirmation. In this crisis, we need to give people hope and not focus on the negative. So this is a way to go about it. And as I said, we women bring up leaders. And this is the way we already groom them to be in a positive light, working on their strengths to really bring about a high performance. And then communicating with an I. These slides will be shared, so don't worry if you don't get everything down. Communicate with an I. You don't do all the talking. I's love to talk. Don't ignore their ideas. They love to share their ideas, so give room to them. When you are going to work with an I, socialize first. Ask the person how he's feeling over a cup of coffee and then work with the person. Don't just go in with a task. And because they love talking, sometimes they miss the details. So after you have discussed everything with them, make sure you follow with an email or send an SMS as to the main points that you want them to follow through. Their attention span is a little bit like butterflies flying away all the time. So it's not great to have discussions for about 40 minutes or 1 hour with them. Make it 10 minutes discussions for you to be able to make progress where they are concerned. Under stress, they are very active, very impatient. Lockdown situations, they will want to go out because eyes really get their energy from the outside world. So lockdown situations really, really is a challenge for them. So you should have a way of ensuring that if, for example, they are young people or teenagers, that they have social connections. So that's the way to motivate them. You give them an opportunity for a social event. Now that most people are locked down, maybe using the computer or getting their friends together over virtually for them to do something to keep them in shape. And recognize their good behavior. You give them an opportunity to express their thoughts. And for a script for a child, which I think you can even use for colleagues or adults, say, I like that you are fun to be with. I like that you are friendly. You're a friendly person. I like your enthusiasm, which is contagious. Not like the virus COVID, of course. Okay, now the S's. With the S's, you create a friendly tone. S's don't like very loud environment. So even when you're speaking to them, you have to bring down your tone. That way they don't feel too much aggressed. You show interest in them. You lean forward when you're talking to them. You don't be aggressive. You minimize confrontation. You define the goal and everyone's role. They like things to be a little bit structured, knowing that everybody has their role and they'll function very well. You give them time to adjust to changes. Okay, so this period is quite difficult for us S's. Under stress, we are submissive or very stubborn. I remember one time when I had a boss who was very, very much demanding, and he asked me to do something. So I knew I wasn't going to do it. So what I did is that I just clarified the matter with him. And I knew the thing had to be done in the morning at a certain time, and I did not show up. He never asked me again. I know it wasn't a nice thing to do, but that's the way I did it, because I was stubborn. So depending on the threat, because I felt he was threatening on my security. So that's an S for you. They seek stability. They need more connection and friendship. They look for peacefulness. In an environment that is not peaceful, chaos, they don't like it. So when they are under lockdown like this, they thrive better. Okay? Introverts really are not too, the lockdown is not too much of a challenge for them. Motivating them, you create a close relationship. You emphasize you need their help and make sure you provide the additional resources they need to boost their confidence. And for the child to bring out the best in them, I like that you are a caring person. I like that you try and get along with others. I like that you are compassionate. Okay. We move forward. And then the last, the C's. Communicating with a C, you provide all the details. Use validated facts. They want to say who said what, when, and all that. You explain things precisely. You have to be specific. Be patient, answer all their questions, and follow up to provide them with any additional data that they require. Under stress, they can become very uptight and blame others. They can be critical, overcautious, pessimistic, and technical. Motivations, you explain reasons for desired action. You allow questions and suggestions, and you give them opportunity to research and analyze. And the child, I like how you always try to do your best. I like that you like things to be organized. I like that you listen to what other people say and feel. So to end the way you communicate with all these styles, as Dr. Tony Alessandra says, he said, you treat people, that's the platinum rule, not the golden rule. Golden rule says you should treat people as you would like to be treated. The platinum rule says treat others the way they want to be treated. Treat people the way they want to be treated. Okay. So I will stop here for questions and answers.
There are some questions. Is Ethel going to moderate, or do you want me to go through them?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I'm going through. Someone asked, they said, please, I want to get a blend. What should I do to get a blend? I don't know if you had addressed that one before.
Okay, a blend. We are all blends, and I did mention that there are 41 blends. So when you do take the assessment, we have a graph that will be shown, and you can see your blend that we can give you. This is just giving an overview of explanations, and I'm just using the extremes, but there is a blend.
Okay, the next question. Does this behavior affect team dynamics at work?
Definitely. Definitely it does. So the way you communicate to them, and when you do take the full assessment, you will understand how people even take decisions, right? And also when there is conflict, how they react. So you'll be able to relate. There's a page that gives you all the details of the different styles. I'm just given just a brief of the extremes because that is what I can do. I haven't done any assessment test for any one of the blends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, and someone else asked, asked, please, I'm D and I. How do I work with someone who is S? We would have probably addressed that on the previous slides.
Yes, so as I said, with an S, let me go back again. Let me go back to the slide. With an S, communicating with an S is in a friendly tone. And you can see that when I'm doing that, I've dropped my voice. And you lean forward when talking to an S, because when you start speaking like this or whatever, they don't like the noise. I remember my sister who is an S. We were doing a devotion and I put music on that even spoiled everything for us. They don't like noise. They want the quiet. Okay? So S, the tone in which you even speak to them. You tone down. If you are D, you tone down your voice, because if not, they will feel aggressed. So look at the points that I have put down. You'll get the slides to help you toning down your voice, showing interest in them. When you are with them, you have to be present, fully present with them, and not have your mind wandering on you on your phone. They want that security because they are a bit shy and they always pray for that sense of security.
Okay, the next question from Rashida. Please, does the letters DISC, well, DISC, DISC in this case, you're using as personalities represent some words? So she's asking for the breakdown.
Okay, the D is for dominant, the I is for inspired, the S is for steady, and the C is for cautious.
Anonymous attendee, must an individual make an effort to learn other traits to have a balance, or can you train them in areas they're not strong?
That's what I'm saying about the DISC model, that they really build on strengths, because the thing is that you can visit, depending on the situation. Somebody even did ask the question saying, if she's an S and she wants to become a D, she's trying to be a D. That is not your default. Definitely you always refer to your default, but since you are aware of traits, it helps you to step up to become a D when you want, okay? And you can visit. That's why I'm saying you can visit. But naturally, when you do, it gives you a small energy that you exert. That is not your natural incline. That is how God created you. However, you can learn. You can learn, because it takes a lot of energy out of you. Yeah, and that will cause you stress.
There are some more questions, but I'm going to pass it back over to the moderator so that she can manage the progress. Ethel?
Ethel, can we hear from you? Okay. Thank you, Sika.
Okay. If not, then maybe
Sarah wants to know, how do these traits explain dysfunctional personalities?
Dysfunctional, what does she mean by dysfunctional personalities? Is this somebody who is bipolar? You know, this is not, I won't say, we don't use it to treat people who have medical issues, okay? If it's a medical issue, definitely you'll have to go to a therapist. This is for, we call this model a well-being model of human behavior.
Okay. Okay.
Any more questions?
Celestine is asking, won't it be time consuming to be treating everyone how they want to be treated?
If you want to, okay. Celestine, if somebody doesn't treat you the way you want to be treated, I don't think you'll be happy. If you have 4 children at home and they have different temperaments, you can't have the same, okay, fine, you can have the same food for them, but not all the time. Sometimes you have to bend the rule a little bit to make the person happy, because you're building relationship. Remember, it's relationship, relationships. It's not every time. Every time, even if you cannot do it and you know how to communicate with a person, you can talk to the person in the way they like to be talked, and they will understand. Everybody is, an understanding human being. All right.
All right. Okay, so Francisca pulled the funny one. She said she's an I, but now indoors, and it's making her crazy.
Yes, we'll explain that. An I, she's an I, because the eyes thrive outside. They get their energy from outside. Yeah, so if you are indoors, definitely it will drive you crazy. I can understand. So we will see with on the next slide how we can manage or navigate properly this times that we are in with our personality styles. So this is just to give you an understanding as to why, or awareness, why you may be having these syndromes of being crazy. You're not crazy, it's normal. It's normal dependent on your personality and the way God has created you. So we'll go through the next part, and then you can relate better as to why you are behaving, or this is happening to you. Any more questions?
Thank you very much, Auntie Sarah. That's all we have now.
Perfect. Okay, so let's move on to the next. I have unmuted anyway, so just in case if people want to speak up, they can. I have unmuted all. Okay.
Sorry, I do see some more questions, but I understand we may be moderating. So if you pose a question that wasn't answered, we can go back to it once Auntie Sarah's gone through the presentation.
Okay, I can see Lola Pipra saying her question was not answered.
There's some questions that are still there.
Let me see me to be difficult, all because I treat them the way they, let me see. I don't understand this. The line is unmuted. Lola, can we have you? And then Felicia. Lola first and then Felicia. Felicia says, people always seem to be difficult. Felicia, I don't understand this question. So if you can unmute yourself and let me know your question, please. Felicia Ariana. And then Lola. Let me see, 1 second. Okay, I was on the panelist, sorry. Let me see. I'll have to promote to panelist. Okay, Lydia, let me hear you. Lydia?
So, Auntie Sarah, are you responding to the questions in the chat?
Yes, there's a question in the chat, and there's Lydia. I have unmuted her, but I can't hear her now.
Okay. Maybe can we go to another one until we are able to connect with her?
Okay.
I think you tried for Felicia. So maybe what I'm suggesting is let's go through the webinar, the chat, and then the Q&A section, because there's a lot of questions in the Q&A section that we probably haven't addressed yet. So Felicia, we've answered. Sirwa, how do these traits explain dysfunctional? You've addressed that.
Yeah.
Celestine, won't it be time? You've addressed that. Okay. Stanley, okay.
There's Galaxy A8. He's raised a hand.
Okay.
Okay, let me see and give her or him Access, promote to panelists. Okay, gallery, you have the space. Galaxy A8, you have the space, please.
To speak. I don't think they know that that's what they're registered as. Okay.
Yeah.
Galaxy, yes, I have Galaxy now. Galaxy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, this is Irene Ofori from Sunyane.
Hello, Irene.
Yes, I have two questions.
Yes.
I wasn't able to log in from beginning, but I realized that D dominant is my personality trait or my energy. Let me say that. And I wanted to ask if it is normal for me to lose my energy in these times, because I'm the typical type where you want results. I mean, if you need something, you want to go for it. But it's so difficult nowadays because you cannot walk to the next person, ask your questions, demand, things delay, and you lose that interest. And sometimes it's like the interest is going down and it gets you frustrated. And so I want to intact and also get the results that I want, because you kind of put your frustration on your other team members.
Great question. Great question. This is exactly why we decided to do this program for all of us, because this is exactly what everyone is experiencing depending on your personality type. And if everybody pay attention to her words, she says demanding. You watch her words, demanding. I need results. That is a typical D. Okay, the words she's using even refers to her type of personality. How does she manage in this situation? Okay, you're frustrated. It is normal. We go to the next section and you will understand why you feel so frustrated, because your needs are not being met. Yeah, that is correct, because this is what is happening to all of us depending on our personality in this lockdown, for you to get a better awareness and how to navigate and not go crazy.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Thank you.
There's a lot more questions. I'm just gonna go and pick up probably a few that are really standing out, and then maybe we can proceed to your next section.
Okay.
Okay. Well, the question with Miriam. Hello, Sarah and Tika. Great to see you both. My question is, how do you communicate to others your style so they treat you the way you want to be treated?
Okay, this is, it's not a tough one. You don't communicate to your style. How would I say it? You cannot change anyone. You can only change yourself. So what you have to do is to know the other person's style and communicate to that person that way. This is for us how we relate to ourselves and how we relate to others. You cannot change the other person. You will have to change yourself. Transformation begins with you, not the other person. And over here, I see Lola saying, does your upbringing or environment you grow in up also form part of your behavior or contribute to it? Absolutely, absolutely. It does. It does shape and form your upbringing, and it's the brain. You know, we create neurons in our brain that side, Lola, but I will not explain about the environment. That will be in our main course, and if I have to explain that, it will take a lot of time. We can have an offline chat, Lola, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
And I think this one you may be able to answer because you yourself is an S. Galaxy said, I am an S, but sometimes people see me to be a difficult person because they feel I am different from them. How would you answer that, Auntie Sarah?
Yes, you're different from them. So listen, you are different from them, and it's all right to be different. No one is just like you. Just don't feel what do you call it? Rejected. What you have to do is you own your personality to them at a level where you can connect with them. You can connect with them so they can understand you. If you make the first step, they will also move forward towards you. Okay? Lydia, I can see you are back. Lydia?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Lydia, yes. Hello.
Hello, madam.
Yes, Lydia, your question?
I've sent a question. I'm saying, how do I manage a child who is S and a child who is D in times of this lockdown?
Okay. What have they been doing? The S wants to stay in her room and the D wants to go out, right?
Yes, and the D is always making, the S always wants to
Yes.
be by himself and all that. How do I manage them?
How do you manage them? That's a tough thing for you to do. So one time you do what the D wants and the S has to come along, because it's also good for an S to be able to them. You sit down and today we do this, tomorrow we do that. And it's relationship, connecting.
Okay.
And that is exactly what we're going to do in business. Business with your stakeholders, you need to connect. Does that help?
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
Okay, Auntie Sarah.
You're welcome, Lydia. Yes.
Abina
I have to get going, right?
No, Abina Kisiwa wants to know how she can take the assessment.
Okay, at the end, we'll give you an email that you can write to us, and we will be happy to do that for you. Okay, I'll give you more.
Yes, and Alberta Boatima, please, I want to get a blend. What should I do to get a blend?
You take the assessment and you will know your blend. When you take the assessment, we'll do a debrief also for you so you can understand better. Okay?
I believe we covered a few of those ones.
Okay. The other ones that we are not able to cover, I will definitely have my email at the end, and I can also look at the questions over there. I think we have details of everyone, and we can send them the answers.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for your active participation and interest. Let's move on to the last part.
Yes.
Okay. S's. Okay. So this last part is dealing with our psychological state. Being locked down. I was it Lydia who said no? It was increased. So dependent on your personality, with a lockdown, your mood will be either you fight, you flee, or you get on a plane and go somewhere, even though there is no plane. The situation is that in our brain, what we do is the brain is always seeking pleasure. Okay, when you have pleasure, the dopamine goes up and you're happy and all that. And as soon as you have a crisis or something that is out of the ordinary affects you, the brain go into the flee or flight mode, and that it produces cortisol, and that is why we do get stressed. And definitely being in an enclosed environment, confined with not going out, especially if you are the outgoing type, personality type is not that. So this is what the pandemic has done to us, and the lockdown, that all of us are saying, oh my God, what just happened to us? Are we going crazy? No, we are not going crazy. Grief and loss, it's just the same. Normally when things happen, when the pandemic started, when you look at that side, denial. In the beginning, it was just shock for us. Some of us who are, what do you call it? Were just okay with that. Elation, okay, that's fine. I get more time to myself. I can do things that I have been pushing down. For others, like the D, she was really in shock, and then she moved to anger because she cannot get things done. So you see that you move from here and then you come down. Can you see my cursor? So it's a natural feeling that we will go through. Definitely you experience anger because your needs are not met. You cannot go out. You want things. The whole country is locked down. You cannot get answers, and you feel blocked. Anxiety, irritation, and then you take it out on other people in your environment. You become so impossible.
It's true.
Okay, perfect. You become so impossible, so great that you realize that you become. So when you see that, then definitely. So normally, if you know yourself, when you are stressed, what are some of the things that you do that makes you distressed? You know, we'll come to that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then if still things do not work your way, then you feel overwhelmed and you go into a state of depression. And you feel helpless, you feel overwhelmed. And that is where a lot of times we have issues. If you feel so depressed and you cannot get yourself that you need. If it's talking to friends or family, fine. But if not, and you need medical attention, please do not waste time and get it. Okay? And as time goes on, now that, for example, in Switzerland, a lot, what we experience now is that people are more or less getting used to the situation because the uncertainty has really gone down, and you can have a schedule. That's one way of doing things. Have a schedule, a routine that keeps you going, not knocking you out of your normal way of life. So then you move on to the bargaining side, where you start reaching out to others. You're struggling to find meaning. You are telling people, okay, this is how I feel. You are able to verbalize it. Once you are able to verbalize it, it means, yes, you're making sense of everything, and you are going to move up quickly to move out of this state of depression. And the last step is the acceptance, when you start putting into place plans or strategies to move you forward into the new world that we're going to find ourselves into. But that doesn't mean that sometimes some people do not have to go through all the stages. It depends on your personality and your outlook towards life. In the next session, Tika will be taking us through some of the strategies that we can adopt to move forward. But I'll just give you a little bit of a tool that you can use in the next slide. 1 second. So, how do we choose our response? And I've put here a quote by Viktor Franklin, who was imprisoned in a concentration camp for so long, and how he overcame. It's a good book that all of us should be able to get a copy and read. No, it's not A Man's Search of Meaning. It is As a Man Thinketh. And he said, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. I read it again. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. So in every situation, you have the choice to choose. And as we said in the beginning, the first slide, we defined that this is a difficult time. A crisis is a difficult time where we need to make a decision which will move us into the turning point, either for the better or for the worse. So what is the choice that you're going to make? The space. So this is just a simple circle, which I call your sphere of control, right? In the middle, I'm going to ask every one of you to look at the different areas in your life. If it's family, if it's work, if it's mental, because you're stressed, take the mental part, write everything down that is causing you stress mentally. And once you've written that down, look at those that are within your sphere of control and you put it in the green part, put it in the middle. This is a practical tool that I want you to do. And it's an exercise that is very, very helpful. Once you make the unconscious conscious, then you'll be able to direct your life, okay? So once you write it down, already you have unloaded a load on your brain or in your mind. Then you separate, make 2 columns. Things that you can control, you put it in the green, and those that are outside your control, you put it in the white circle outside. And in the green circle, you take each item and you deal with it. First of all, you take the one that is easiest. Why do I say that? Because if you are able to succeed, it gives you the momentum to go on to the next. Okay, in the course, when we do it, we really go deeper with people and we'll help them along. But for now, we don't have too much time. We just did it for 90 minutes. So this is all that I can say for now. We have about 11 minutes before the end of the session, and I would like to end here so that we can have some questions and answers. But before we do so, these for the DISC, these are the assessments that we have. We have the DISC model of human behavior. We have the adult version. We have one for teens. We have one for teens, and then we have a youth version. Okay, I like the youth version very much because this is done with the parent, and it really helps the parents and teachers to help the child build up her personality and really grow, feeling confident and building her self-esteem. And then we have the communication impact just for businesses and the sales impact for businesses also. For faith-based organizations, we do have this version for human behavior. For relationships, we also have that for people who are engaged or even for married people. And the program that we have, which Tika and I will be running in the month of May. So anybody who might be interested, we will send information around and you let us know. What we have decided is that since we are in a crisis and we want to serve, we will not ask for the full fee, but it will be at a discounted rate if you let us know that you attended this webinar. And if you need to communicate with CTL, you have the CTL website and then the CTL email address. But at the end, I'll give, after the questions and answers, Tika and I have emails over there that you can reach out to us. So now I'll hand over to the moderator to give us the last set of questions that we have.
Oh, so
thank you.
Auntie Sarah, before we go, can you just give them an overview, or I can give them an overview as to what to expect next week, because they are coming.
Okay, so you go ahead now.
Yeah.
Let me bring out the slide for that.
Thank you.
Here we go.
I don't see it on my screen yet, but maybe.
Oh, you don't? Sorry. So maybe I stopped sharing my screen. 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I did stop sharing my screen. Sorry. Oh. Okay. I need to go over here and click share screen. Perfect. Share.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, there we go.
Okay. All right, so thank you, ladies. Thank you, Auntie Sarah. That was wonderful. Now that Auntie Sarah explained, and I affectionately call her Auntie Sarah, Sarah just talked about, personality typing and how you cope with your various personalities as you're dealing with this crisis. The goal is, to give you a full the experience that you have working with us, but we really want to have an impact. That's the goal, and the mission is to add value to you and to have impact. So next week, what we're going to look at, we're going to talk about now that you understand yourself, and now that you understand how you relate in terms of your relationships, how do you proceed as a woman? We take on various roles. So we're caregivers. We're also leaders in our various roles as either employers or as maybe senior leaders in our organizations. How do we proceed in this situation, in this crisis? So we'll look at the roles we play as women, leading as caregivers, and a CEO or leader, putting people first. Then we'll take a look at how to plan to move ahead. We'll give you an overview of some planning strategies or techniques that you can use as you're dealing with, perhaps for those of you who are still in lockdown, how to manage and maneuver while you're under lockdown. For those of you who are out of lockdown, how do you start to phase back into your regular routine given some of the restrictions and the limitations you've had. And then we'll look at positioning, how to consider in terms of opportunities, risks, rewards as we move into the new emerging world. So we hope to see you next week at the next session. Before we go though, we're gonna have some more questions and answers, and I'm gonna pass it over. Ethel, it's over to you.
Yes, so Felicia Vienna wants to know, she says she's an outgoing type, loves to work in teams, but unfortunately when she turns up to be a leader of a group and accepts something to be done, she gets disappointed and people see her to be difficult. How does she get to explain herself to to the team members so that they appreciate that it's the work that is supposed to be done, but not she being difficult.
Okay, thank you. Is it Felicia?
Yes, Felicia.
Is it Felicia? Yeah, thank you, Felicia. Felicia, if you remember when I was discussing about the priority regarding the task versus the people. If you take that, when you get the slide, look at that slide, what people who are left have a preference for the left side, and then people who have a preference for the right side. I don't know the situation very well. It could be that most of your team members are maybe more on the right-hand side. So sometimes, since I am a C, also that's my second blend, when I'm doing something, I go straight to the task. Even when I'm writing an email for your information, I just write for your information. Then I stop myself, and then I go back and I write, good morning, how are you today? And then I say, for your information or for your action. Then I send it off. In the beginning, I did not do that. I only write, okay, for your information, for action. But when you visit a little bit the people side, it helps. I am able to navigate the two because I am an SC. So I see where by default, where I go straight away. I guess my C is a little bit higher when it comes to the blend is higher on the tax side than the people side. So I stop myself being aware of this, I wouldn't say this strength of me just going for the task. I just stop myself and I visit the people side more because I want work to be done, but it's people who get the work done. So I visit the people side. That is the way I have gone about it. So maybe if you, now that you're more aware of this tool, you can use it to that advantage.
Okay, Auntie Sarah, a panelist wants to know if one's culture influences one behavior trait.
Mm-hmm. It does. That's what I said about the environment and culture. When you take the whole DIX assessment, it may come up. I have another program on how environment affects your personality. Because, okay, if I live here in Switzerland, the culture is different. When I come to Ghana, the culture is different. Over here, I can be at the bus stop, just be minding my own business, get on the bus and go to wherever I go. I remember when I was home just this February, when I was in Ghana, I was just at a hairdresser's place, and then a lady came and she said, good morning. Fine. I just sat down. We were so many people over there. Good morning. I just sat down. I did not say anything. And then she came and stood in front of me. Madam, I'm saying good morning to you, you know. You know, and I realized, oh, okay, I am in Ghana. This is the culture over here. When somebody says good morning, everybody says good morning. In Switzerland, I'm at the bus stop, people come and somebody says good morning. The person is not talking to me, so I'm not obliged to say good morning. He might be talking to others. So the culture also really, really has an effect. Yes, it does.
Okay. Okay, so Kate Todo wants to know if there are tools to work on oneself, one personality, from one personality to the other.
Yes, for example, I gave the one for communication. That is how you can relate to the different styles in communication to the different styles. There's one also for decision when you do take the assessment. It gives you a whole package of how you manage conflict, even with the different personalities. It goes deeper than this one. This one is just a taste because we only had 90 minutes. And I really wanted to give you as much as I can. Okay?
Okay. Okay, please, can you show the slide so people get the full meaning of the I, D, C, and the S?
Okay, I'll do so, certainly.
Okay.
Okay, is that okay? I'll move to the next.
Yes.
They'll get the slides.
Yeah, I was going to say, just a reminder, they're going to.
Yeah, they're going to get the slides. So
yeah.
Let's take the questions.
Yeah, and in the interest of time, because it is 11:32,
perhaps. We are almost at the top of the hour.
Okay, so Eva wants to know if it's advisable for an S to form a team with a D.
Yes, S's really get along with everyone. Huh? They are good listeners. I mean, they are very, very flexible. So when you take the assessment, you will see how the styles blend with each other. S's really are all-rounded. And that you can see that, let me show you this slide. Thank God that we have 69% of population being S's. There are only 3% of D's, 11% of I's, 17% of C's, and the large majority are S's. They make the world go round. They are able to blend with all of these three very, very easily.
Okay, so that's all the questions we have now.
Perfect. Okay, you can write to CTL, ctlafrica1@gmail.com, or to Tika and myself. You have our emails there, tika@tikacameron.com, sarahj@bluewind.ch.
Okay, so let me take this very important comment here from Pika Tego. She says, thank you to the organizers and panelists for this great session. It was delivered differently from what I've experienced so far. The tools shared are very simple tools to relate to. Thanks again.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome.
That's really nice. Thank you. We appreciate you coming to be with us. And we hope to see you next week.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. So thank you so much